Okay, so we're done with the four components of the material self according to William James. I'll show you some statements here and try to evaluate each one of them and say na if the statement is appropriate or applicable to you and na if not appropriate or not applicable. You buy a new dress and now you have to get shoes and earrings to match. Na or yeah. As for me, mm, I'm in the middle. Sometimes yeah, sometimes na. You buy a plane ticket to Batanes and soon buy a new camera and outfits that will fit the place for your aura picture taking. What about with your parents? Buy a new couch and suddenly you're questioning the layout of your entire living room. Those chairs, that coffee table, that rug, they all gotta go. Renovate your home and soon have the urge to buy new things that will fit the theme of the house. So all of these statements are based from the Diderot effect. Diderot effect states that obtaining a new possession often creates a spiral of consumption, which leads you to acquire more new things. And originally, those things are not really needed. As a result, we end up buying things that our previous selves never needed to feel happy or fulfilled. It's like a domino effect. So once you acquire the new possession, then you will realize that you have to buy new more things. So who is Diderot? He was the famous French philosopher. Denis Diderot lived nearly his entire life in poverty, but that all changed in 1765. Diderot was 52 years old and his daughter was about to be married, but he could not afford to provide a dowry. In their culture, the women will be the ones that will give dowry to the family of the man. Despite his lack of wealth, Diderot's name was well known because he was the co-founder and writer of Encyclopedia, one of the most comprehensive encyclopedias of the time. When Catherine the Great, the Empress of Russia, heard of Diderot's financial troubles, she offered to buy his library from him for 1,000 euro, which is approximately $50,000 in 2015 dollars. Suddenly, Diderot had money to spare. Shortly after this lucky sale, Diderot acquired a new scarlet robe. That's when everything went wrong. So originally, he needed money for the to pay or to provide for the dowry for his daughter. Then eventually, he obtained a large sum of money and he started to buy new things. Diderot's scarlet robe was beautiful, so beautiful, in fact, that he immediately noticed how out of place it seemed when surrounded by the rest of his common possessions. In his words, there was no more coordination, no more unity, no more beauty between his robe and the rest of his items. The philosopher soon felt the urge to buy some new things to match the beauty of his robe. He replaced his old rug with a new one from Damascus. He decorated his home with beautiful sculptures and a better kitchen table. He bought a new mirror to place above the mantel, and his straw chair was relegated to the antechamber by a leather chair. These reactive purchases have become known as the Diderot effect. Diderot effect again suggests that one innocent purchase can unexpectedly spiral into an endless cycle of complementary consumption, the kind which preys on one's journey for a cohesive identity. We end up buying things that our previous selves never needed to feel happy or fulfilled. The reason for this is that many sociologists believe that life has a natural tendency to become filled with more. We are rarely looking to downgrade or to simplify, to eliminate, or to reduce. Our natural inclination is always to accumulate, to add, to upgrade, and to build upon. So it is really our instinct to have this kind of tendency. Have you ever experienced buying something expensive which you really want, such as the latest version of a famous phone brand depicted in social media? Then after, say to yourself that you're happy about it. Then at some point, return to the same store and buy a new cell phone accessories. Then the following morning, you realize that you should also change your pouch because it's too old already and does not match again the status symbol of your new gadget. As we can see, the more we put too much importance on one's material possession, it consequently triggers the longing or desire for more, which at first you do not totally need at all. So that is the Diderot effect. How can we manage Diderot effect? Diderot effect tells us that your life is only going to have more things fighting to get in it. So you need to understand how to curate, eliminate, and focus on the things that matter. One way to manage Diderot effect is to reduce the exposure. Like nearly early habit is initiated by a trigger or cue. There's a stimulus. There's always a stimulus, and then the person will just react on it or will respond to it. One of the quickest ways to reduce the power of the Diderot effect is to avoid the habit triggers that cause it in the first place. So you have to unsubscribe from your commercial emails, uh, uninstall Shopee, Lazada, and call the magazines that send you catalogs and opt out of their mailings. Meet friends at the park rather than at the mall. Block your favorite shopping websites using tools like ano nga yung Freedom. I don't know if that is applicable in our um, setting, no? So buy items that fit your current system. That is another way to manage the zero effect. You don't have to start from scratch each time you buy something new. When you purchase new clothes, look for items that work well with your current wardrobe. Or try to mix and match instead of buying new clothes. When you upgrade to new electronics, get things that place nicely with your current pieces so you can avoid buying new chargers, adapters, or cables. Another is to set self-imposed limits. Live a carefully constrained life by creating limitations for you to operate within. Last is go 1 month without buying something new. Can you do that? Don't allow yourself to buy any new items for 1 month. I don't know if I can do it. Instead of buying a new lawnmower, rent one from a neighbor. Get your new shirt from the thrift store rather than the department store. The more we restrict ourselves, the more resourceful we become. So there are a lot of things that we can do to manage the zero effect. The most important thing is we have to restrain ourselves to buy new material possessions. So we have to live within our means. Are we what we own? Are you still the same person without your possessions? Maybe maybe that is applicable. Like for example, if one of your family members died, so some people reported that the their lives is no longer complete because of the absence of that person. There are there's some components of the material self that if this will be gone, then definitely that will affect or will contribute an impact to our total personality or an identity. Again, the desire to acquire material possession is actually a cycle. Usually, that is based from the social interaction. So, when we see through interaction, we see the possessions or the material possessions of our friends, and then there are times that we will feel insecure, and that will constitute to having low self-esteem. There are two ways or two effects of having insecurity. First, yung good side is you will try to work hard to obtain or to reach the same level of your or status with your friends. Then the other one is you will experience negative emotions. So you will have low self-esteem. So for the positive effect of insecurity, so you will work hard, you will try to aim for success, and because of the hardship or the hard work, then you'll be able to acquire the material positions that you desire. Then eventually, you will see another material possession from other people, then it will trigger again the insecurity in you. So it is really a cycle. Yung consumer behavior and the self. However, the desire for material possessions also have negative effects on one's sense of self and identity. So materialism can be defined as a want towards acquiring and spending on earthly needs and material desires. Our consumer behavior is actually part of our identity, part of our self concept. So it can be described simply as how one perceives himself and his behavior in the marketplace. It is the attitude one holds toward himself, especially in acquiring material possessions. Thus, when a person is about to make a purchase, he or she should ask himself or herself a very important question. Do I really need this? You have to ask that question to yourself not only once or twice, but multiple times. So you have to evaluate if that material possession or product is really based on your need. So apart from money as the main predictor whether a person will buy or purchase a certain product, there are several factors that affect the economic and purchasing behavior of an individual. So first important factor is when the person is confused between what are things they just want, yung want lang, and what are the things that are considered as needs. So based on if to attain a happy or satisfied life, you have to balance between wants and needs. In case that you have this kind of depiction between the wants and needs, you have more wants than needs, most likely these people will experience frustration, anxiety, and other negative emotions associated of having this kind of imbalance between the wants and needs. In evaluation between or in an evaluation of a product, if that is based from the want or need, example, buying an expensive upgraded phone despite the fact that your old phone is still functioning. It is the purchasing behavior based on what is wanted or needed. If you need to upgrade because you think there are some features on the new phone that you really need in your work, well, yes, you need it. So we have to think before we buy new product. There are some people who suffer from a psychological disorder, particularly compulsive buying disorder, also known as shopping addiction. Yan, shopaholic. So it is a pathological buying or compulsive buying disorder, which is a mental health condition characterized by the persistent, excessive, impulsive, and uncontrollable purchase of products in spite of severe psychological, social, occupational, and financial struggles. What causes compulsive buying disorder? In most cases, for compulsive shopping, it is psychological. So when we say psychological, there are times that it is hereditary, or most likely the person um, have emotions of loneliness, depression, feel out of control in a particular area, and seek to spend money in order to relieve the stress. So they consider that behavior as their emotional outlet to release negative emotions within themselves. So may mga adverse consequences, like for example, you will be in debt. You will use or you will maximize all your credit cards because of your compulsive buying. Another adverse effect of having imbalance between the need and the want are the following. So you will have dissatisfaction, you will become unhappy, and most especially you will become depressed because of the negative emotions associated to that kind of imbalances. So what drives people to prioritize materialistic values? As I've said, in our cycle, because of insecurity. Okay, so let's go now to the last topic, culture and its impact on materialism. Most consumers' behavior in this modern era are affected on what they're being exposed with, especially in media, especially nowadays that most of our time are consumed in different social media accounts. And because of that exposure, there are times that it could influence our behavior as a consumer. Like, for example, by browsing your social media, Facebook, and then you saw an advertisement for a certain product, and eventually it influences you or it triggers the desire to or longing to acquire that material thing. So, consumerism, an economic and social concept which refers to the acquisition and purchases of product and services. We have different online platforms or where we can buy things like Shopee, Lazada. So, it is really part of our system that every payday they will have a sale, which is a marketing strategy. Tapos pag yan pa yung November, ngayon November, 'di ba? So immediately by November 11, they will also have sale on their products. So parang since it is repetitive, it became our culture na rin and tradition. Parang automatic na that every payday, and then yung sa mga depending on the day of the month, na automatic they will have sale on different products. So consumerism and materialism view of the self can be viewed positively and negatively. For instance, people tend to be happier and more motivated when their wants and needs are met. So some of them, you will become more motivated um, to work hard so that you'll be able to acquire um, wants, then eventually needs based on your purchasing behavior. On the other hand, it encourages people to buy products and services that they do not really need or afford. As I've said, one of the factors then to have a healthy lifestyle and to have a happy life is we have to live within our means. Kung hindi kaya, then wag natin na ikunin pa natin forcefully or talagang gagawa tayo ng way to achieve it. Ito yung mga nangyayari dun sa mga merong plastic money na instead na kung anong gagastusin nila based dun sa sahod nila, since they have plastic money, so they will buy products or things that are not really needed. Malakas ang loob kasi they have plastic money. Okay? So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. So Corinthians 4 verse 18. Thank you.